Hi everyone, Harris here with iDownload Blog, and today we're taking a look at one of my favorite accessories for the new iPad Air 4, which is the Logitech Folio Touch case. It's a really excellent case, and it really brings down the price from Apple's Magic case, which is a really magical case, but at $300 isn't super practical for this slightly more affordable version of the iPad Pro, which is basically what I consider the iPad Air 4. So in this video, we're going to talk about this keyboard, which goes for around $159, and of course I'll leave different links down in the description for you to get the best deals. Let's go ahead and get started with what I like, what I think is neutral about the case, and finally what I dislike. Starting out with number one is what I kind of just mentioned, and it's just the fact that this price matches the price of the iPad a little bit better than the Magic Keyboard does, and even Apple's own Smart Keyboard Folio. This is a really well-rounded case that comes in around $159. I could also throw that in the neutral category because $159 is not cheap, especially when you can get some options out there on the internet for under $100, but at $159, this isn't a ripoff. Second, the keyboard itself is absolutely excellent. I really enjoy typing on this keyboard. Now the keys aren't as dense and sturdy as Apple's more expensive Magic Keyboard, but they're really enjoyable to type on, and they're an improvement over different Logitech cases that I've tried out in the past. And it also has a function row up top, which I absolutely miss when I go back to my Magic Keyboard or other keyboards that don't have a function row up top. Just the ability to quickly adjust my brightness or my volume, or quickly mute my device, or skip and play and pause media, it's awesome, and it's totally underrated on keyboards, and the fact that this does have a function row is excellent. Next, it does have magnets to wake and sleep your iPad, which is nice to see, and you also have a flap up top, which you can use to securely hold an Apple Pencil or any type of stylus, such as Logitech's own Logitech Crayon stylus, which is a really excellent and slightly more affordable option. So this is actually a really good combo between the Logitech Crayon, which saves you $50 over Apple's Pencil 2, and then this keyboard, which saves you $140 over Apple's case, but it securely and magnetically closes with this clasp here. And then you can also charge your Apple Pencil 2 with the slot on the top of the case, and it still stays secure because of this magnetic flap. So no matter what stylus you're using, you are taken care of with this case. And of course, another thing I really like about this case is that unlike Apple's offerings, this will give you a lot of protection. It's got a sturdy, shock-absorbing rubber frame going around the device, so your corners are protected, and of course, just the top and the bottom and the front and the back just have that kind of sturdy fabric feeling, which is going to give you a lot of protection if you were to drop your iPad. I've never in my life dropped my iPad, so that's not really a concern for me, but for a younger audience and maybe for kids, students, and just anyone who might be a little bit clumsy, this is going to give you a lot of peace of mind with its protection. Now, the next thing I really like about this case is its texture. It's got a slightly kind of artificial plasticky texture, but in general, it is a nice fabric-esque feeling to it. It's a pretty clean gray color. I think it's going to do a good job of keeping water off of it and staying pretty clean. It's got a decent sound to it. It's a nice texture, and I do enjoy the look and the feel of this case, even if it is just a bit neutral and maybe you could call it bland. Now, the next thing I like about it is that the kickstand gives you a ton of variability, and it's pretty sturdy. So no matter what angle you're looking for, you're going to be able to get it with this kickstand that goes pretty far out and pretty far in. Not every keyboard's going to give you that range of flexibility. Now, some keyboards will still give you more flexibility than this, but this is not a bad option at all with the flexibility. And finally, the last thing I like about it is just the fact that it does have a trackpad. In general, having a trackpad on an iPad keyboard is a fantastic feature, and it really allows you to use your iPad closely to a laptop and how you would use a laptop or a Mac, but of course not exactly. So now to move on to the things that I'm neutral about on this case. The first thing would be the trackpad. The trackpad is good. It's really good, but it could be better. Like, it just could be better, but the fact that it is on this keyboard case at all is excellent. So I'm not complaining about it, and neutral doesn't mean bad. It just means that they could improve it a little bit. It could be a little bit smoother, could have a little bit better finish to it. I could tell definitely when I was using it sometimes that there's just a little bit of friction, a little bit of drag. I think it's better than Samsung's trackpad on the Tab S7 keyboard case. I definitely do see some room for improvement on a future trackpad. But for the price, it's good. Next would just be the fact that there isn't a way to instantly take the iPad out of the keyboard if you want to use it just completely tablet mode, completely on its own. That's what I love about Apple's keyboard options, is that you can instantly remove it from the magnets on the back of the case and just use it as an iPad, super slim, take it around with you. It's not difficult to take it out of its case, but it does have kind of a sturdy frame going around it. So if you do want to take your iPad out of it, it is going to take a couple seconds, and it might not be something you want to do all the time, especially if you're worrying about the case wearing and tearing. But you can see how quickly I just took it out and put it back in, and it does fit flush after that. So it's not a deal breaker, but I would love to just see a super easy way to snap it in and out so I can just use it as an iPad and then put it back in the case when I need to. And then my final neutral is that there isn't an amazing Apple Pencil writing angle. You can put this mostly flat, but not completely, and that's not great for the Apple Pencil. Pretty much I just flip the keyboard around the back of the case and would write with it flat on the table. Not a deal breaker, not a huge deal, but just there is not a perfect or an amazing Apple Pencil writing mode. The things that I dislike about this case, well, for one, because of the thick perimeter and border around the case, I can't use some of my favorite USB-C hubs with this iPad. So for instance, I love my Hyperdrive USB-C hub, but it obviously will not work with this keyboard case on, so I do have to use the extension cable, which is okay, but not what I would love to do, and I like being able to use this super sleek drive with my iPad, such as I can with the Magic Keyboard. Secondly, most USB-C cables do fit with this, but some cables are slightly too tight or slightly too big, and some of them I do really have to push hard to get it to fit in the USB-C port. Logitech could pretty easily fix this, and some USB-C to USB-A adapters that I have just don't fit in at all. So if you have a super oversized adapter, it might not fit this iPad, but if you have a standard USB-C cable, it definitely will. My Google Pixel USB-C to USB-A adapter does fit because of its curved kind of bottleneck design, but other ones, if it just has a thick square design, it won't fit with the USB-C port. The next thing I dislike is just that it's not a minimalist case. It's not as thin or lightweight as other cases on the market. This isn't as big of an issue anymore because of how heavy Apple's really excellent Magic Keyboard is. That's really heavy, but this is thick, it's heavy, it's not minimal, it's not sexy, it's not super elegant. It's just fine. You have to know what you're getting yourself into, and if you do, then it's not going to be an issue. And then finally, the last con I have is just the fact that when you're using the stand on a desk, it does just take up that extra desk real estate because the kickstand goes out rather than some type of inward stand mechanism. So not a deal breaker, not a huge deal, but just something to note. So at the end of the day, do I recommend this case for the iPad Air 4? 100%. It's a little pricey, sure, but I think it really fits the ethos of the iPad Air 4, right? It's not a super streamlined case, and the iPad Air 4 is slightly less streamlined in general than the iPad Pro. And I've just really enjoyed using this case, mainly just the function row and the excellent typing experience, and then just the range of angles, the nice protection, the clasp to keep your pencil steady and sturdy. I think this is a really solid option, and if you get it, you probably won't run into any issues unless it's just the bulk or not being able to use an oversized USB-C adapter or cable. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on this case, and if you have any other questions, you can leave those down in the comment section below, and I'll leave a link to purchase this in the description. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next episode.